Okay, so I got Winnett's photo album out. Okay, so I'm going to peel this back a little bit here so you can see better. And I wanted to go ahead and just come here on site so you can get a perspective of this. Okay, so just on the other side of the railroad track here is where their house used to be. I'll drive by and get a little better footage. But just on the other side of the railroad track here, their mobile home they used to live in back in the 1970s was over here where those trailers are right now. Now that's just a trailer parking area. This right here is a Orange Grove company, I guess. Johnson. But right here is where the mobile home used to be. And there used to be orange groves out there. Now it's all that out there is peach trees. They took the orange grove up and have peach trees planted out there. Alright, so I had to get in here a little bit later in the day when the sun wasn't coming up where it was blocking my view here. But right there on those trailers on the far left over there, that's about where their house would have been. About where them four or five trailers right there are. Somewhere right in there. And then right over here behind these trailers where the peach trees are right now is where the orange grove was. This was their house that they lived in. And it was right out here. This actually the trailer right here. This couple of trailers would actually be blocking your view right now. But that's just all semi-trailers parked out there. Alright, so when Winnett was a kid back in the 1970s, she would have been a young teenager. That's where their house was, there where those trailers are. So from here you would be seeing their house right there, from where I'm sitting at right now. And this is the orange grove right here. Which would have been right there, where all those peach trees are right now. Alright, so this was back in the 1970s, somewhere around in the 70s, where Winnett was a young teenager and her sister that was just a couple years older than her. So they're young teenagers, and their mother, they were in the house, the three of them, at night. And when they walked down the hallway, they heard real heavy footsteps right outside the house here, following them along the hallway. And then also that night, so on the back side of the house, they heard something like rattling the doorknob, like it was trying to open the door. Alright, and so I have talked to Winnett's brother, and him and one of Winnett's other brothers that has passed away now, and a family friend. They were driving a car, Winnett's mom's car. They would drive it around out here in the orange grove. I guess several of them would take turns driving it, but they would drive it around out here in this orange grove. And Winnett's brother, he remembers that the thing attacked the car while the one brother and the family friend, the other young man, were in the car. And he said it was bouncing the back of the car up and down, attacking the car. And he said he also remembers, because he says he remembers really clearly. He remembers the thing's head, seeing its head above the orange trees. So the orange trees, it would have been right there. He said the orange trees were about 6 foot tall. And when that remembers the hedges there, the hedges being about 6 foot tall. So you can see, I mean, they're right around there. The orange trees are just a little over the hedges. And you can see that like right there, you can see the orange trees. They're not very tall. They're just a little over the hedges there. So Winnett's brother, he remembers seeing the head of the thing above the orange trees. He said he could see it real clear. So he's trying to show a few of the old pictures here and tell the story here, where they had a sighting and activity right here where they lived at back in the 70s. And also Winnett's brother, he said a lot of other people right around here had incidences with it, with that same creature right here too, in this area. And a lot of this was orange groves back then. So their dad actually lived here. They all lived here. Her dad worked here for the man that owned the orange groves here, Jack Berry Sr. He came to Florida and bought up a lot of orange groves. So he worked for him right here. Okay, so doing a little research here just to add to the story. I was looking up Jack Berry Sr., who Winnett's dad had worked for when they lived there at the mobile home where they were living. And it just says that Jack Berry, he had moved here to Winter Haven in 1950 after buying one grove, and then he bought other groves. But it said he died in 1997. I was just adding this into the story that I looked it up a little bit here and looked up a little more information. So just doing my search here to see some things that I can find. So I'm just looking through the old photo book here and kind of showing some more view from their yard of the orange trees. Here's a little closer view of the house with the orange trees over there. So this would have been the side of the house facing the road right here that you would have seen from right here at the road. And then here's another picture of the house from their yard. So here's a picture of Winnett and her sister. They weren't quite as tall as the hedges. And then here's her dad back then. And you can see the railroad tracks right there. So that looks like that was probably right here on this property too. You can see the railroad tracks there, and it looks like probably orange trees back there in the background. Okay, and then Here's the railroad tracks. You can tell this was all orange trees too out here at one time. This was all orange groves right here where all this field is. And then you got woods over here. So this out here was all orange grove at one time. And then woods over here on this side. So you got a lot of woods over here on this side here. There's a few houses right through here. You got woods back here on that side. So there's a few houses back here. And then this is some kind of water treatment plant back here. This is dead ends right there. Alright, so there's the railroad track right here, and about where this A+ storage, the A+ storage is right across the street from the where the orange grove was, which is now the peach tree grove, the small peach trees. But this whole area here, this is the outskirts of Winter Haven. But the road here, as it goes around, you can see there's roads around. But this area over here on 653, I did a video on this. There was a Bigfoot sighting here back in 2017. So all this is pretty much connected. I mean, there's nothing really other than the railroad track going through it. And this road over here. Alright, so now there's a storage place here. This hasn't been here very long. Alright, so I'm just showing a little of the area here. Here's the railroad track. So I've never actually been back in here. I know there's a couple of houses back in here. This is just a dead end road. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in some. Alright, so I zoomed in some here. So like I said, over in here was the Bigfoot sighting in 2017. And this is all woods and groves and stuff. So this is railroad track here. And up here is where their house was. And this is on the outskirts of Winter Haven. Here's Juanita, where we live now. Eagle Lake's right over here. Lake Wells is back over this way. So this is all Winter Haven up in here. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to switch over to the satellite view. Okay, so here's the satellite view. Go in a little bit more. Alright, so you can see when I drove by there was a lot more trailers out there. These are semi-truck trailers. These are for when they're picking fruit, the oranges and grapefruits and stuff. So their house would have been sitting right in here, somewhere right in here. And this right now is all peach trees. That would have been all orange groves. A lot of this would have been all orange groves back then. This is a when you cross the railroad track, this is all a big open field right now. That would have been all orange groves back then. A lot of this over here would all been all orange groves. Okay, I'm just showing right all through here is orange trees. So this is orange trees through here. And then here's the railroad tracks. This is close by. And then you can see right here where it used to be orange trees that they've been tearing them down. And then here's more orange trees. A lot of this whole area was, back in those days, was just all orange trees all through here. Alright, so I'm just getting another view through here. This is all just peach trees over here on that side of the road where it used to be orange groves. So I'm just showing where these, a little bit of the area here, and where the activity and this, another BFRO report showed a sighting. This is the orange grove right here. Which would have been right there where all those peach trees are right now. So this was back in the 1970s, somewhere around in the 70s. They were in the house, the three of them, at night. And when they walked down the hallway, they heard real heavy footsteps right outside the house here, following them along the hallway. Winnett's brother, he remembers that the thing attacked the car while the one brother and the family friend, the other young man, were in the car. And he said it was bouncing the back of the car up and down. He said he also remembers, because he says he remembers really clearly, he remembers the thing's head, seeing its head above the orange trees. He said the orange trees were about 6 foot tall. And when that remembers the hedges there, the hedges being about 6 foot tall. So you can see, I mean, they're right around there. The orange trees are just a little over the hedges. And you can see that like right there, you can see the orange trees. They're not very tall. They're just a little over the hedges there. So Winnett's brother, he remembers seeing the head of the thing above the orange trees. He said he could see it real clear.